All right, let's just jump right in. What we're diving into today is this, well, it's a really unique framework. Think of it as a practical guide for anyone who's ever felt like a total outsider, a visionary, or yeah, maybe even an alien. This explainer is for all the rebels and mystics out there trying to navigate a world that doesn't always add up.
I mean, really think about that for a second. You know that feeling deep down where you look at the social rules, the goals everyone's chasing, the way people talk to each other, and it all just feels a little weird, a bit foreign? If you've ever felt that kind of profound disconnect, like you're just not quite in sync with mainstream society, then yeah, this next part is definitely for you.
Wow. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. This is such a powerful way to reframe that whole feeling of being an outcast. The idea here isn't that there's something wrong with you, that you're broken. Nope. It's suggesting you might just be early. You're a futurist, a visionary, someone who's already seeing and feeling where the world is headed long before society is even caught up. So that brings us to our first section, the alien's dilemma. Here, we're going to dig into the root of this otherness and figure out what it actually means in a practical, day-to-day sense. So let's be super clear. We are not talking about little green men from Mars here. When we use words like alien or starseed, think of them as powerful psychological archetypes. They're just metaphors, right? Metaphors for those of us who just naturally operate outside the box. The system breakers, the deep thinkers, the rebels. And this really gets to the heart of it. The goal isn't to just check out and escape reality. It's about blending that deep, spiritual side with grounded, real-world strategies. It's all about learning how to be a rebel with a cause and, a mystic who actually has a plan. All right, let's move on because this builds on itself. Before you can really navigate a system, you gotta understand it first, right? So this next part is all about decoding Earth culture, but from an outsider's point of view, so you can engage with it on your terms, not theirs. Okay, so a great way to think about society is like it's this huge, complex game, but with a bunch of unwritten rules. You've got social norms dictating how you're supposed to act, you've got these power hierarchies, and all these subtle status games people are constantly playing. And smack dab in the middle of it all is this illusion of normalcy, this idea that there's only one correct way to live. And man, that can feel incredibly suffocating if you're someone who sees all the other possibilities. Now this right here is such a critical distinction to make. We're aiming for integration, not assimilation. What's the difference? Well, integration means you learn to participate in the world, you play the game when you have to, but you never lose who you are at your core. Assimilation, on the other hand, that's when you start sacrificing your unique perspective just to fit in. It's the difference between being in the world and becoming a product of the world. Huge difference. Okay, so we've kind of diagnosed the problem. Now let's talk solutions. It's time to get into the toolkit, your alien survival kit. These are the actual, practical strategies you can use to not just survive, but really thrive. First up is this idea called the art of conscious camouflage. It's all about protecting your energy. So, number one, learn to observe what's happening in social situations without just absorbing all the drama and the noise. Two, get really wise about when it's safe to reveal your true, weird, wonderful self and when it's not. And finally, and honestly, this might be the most important one. Know when to retreat. Know when to pull back, be alone, and just recharge. And hey, you don't have to do any of this alone. A huge part of the kit is finding your tribe. You know, those other aliens who just get it, without you having to explain everything. This is about consciously building these little microclimates of belonging, whether that's a book club, an online community, or just a couple of great friends. These are the spaces where you can finally take off the mask and just be yourself. You know, understanding yourself is a massive piece of the puzzle. This framework uses these different typologies, think of them as metaphors, to help you figure out your own core wiring. So, for instance, are you an Aquarian? Someone who's here to totally break and reinvent old systems, kind of like an innovator who challenges an entire industry. Or maybe you're a Martian, more of a rebel, driven to fight injustice head-on, like a classic activist. Or are you a mystic, someone who acts as a bridge between different worlds of thought, connecting ideas that nobody else sees? Just knowing your origin coordinates, so to speak, gives you so much clarity on your purpose. And that brings us to our final section. And honestly, this is the most empowering part. Because this isn't just about surviving, right? It's about your purpose. It's about transmitting home frequencies. In other words, sharing your unique gifts with the world. So, what is the mission exactly? Well, it's about being an emissary for change, but there's a real art to it.
You have to figure out how to introduce new, sometimes challenging ideas in a way that people can actually hear them without immediately shutting down or, trying to crucify you for it. It's this delicate dance between being a visionary and being a really smart strategist. When it comes down to it, your goal is to become just one thing, a single, powerful focal point, like a lighthouse. You become that one steady point of light for all the other people out there who feel lost in the fog. That unique perspective you have, it's not a burden, it's a beacon. And this is the ultimate alchemy, the ultimate act of transformation. You take all that pain, that loneliness, that feeling of not belonging, and you turn it into something else. You transmute it. You turn your alienation into art, into innovation, into building new systems, into telling new stories that can literally help build a new world. So that leaves us with one final question, and this one is just for you. Knowing all this, knowing that your unique perspective is a gift, that it's a kind of signal from a whole other way of being, what frequency are you going to transmit